Quick, comment what the coolest video game character of all time is. Then tell me what the coolest guest character in video games of all time is. Everybody loves to see their favorite characters show up in a different franchise, but which are the coolest? Welcome to Chaos Gaming, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at some of the coolest guest appearances in gaming history. These are those characters that showed up in games that you were not expecting. Drop a like, make sure you're following the page with all those notifications on. At number 10, Negan. Negan in Tekken 7. Now, this is a crossover that nobody saw, but I'm glad he did. Negan is one of the main characters of the Walking Dead TV show, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and fans love Negan. His personality, his survival instincts, his bat. The internet went nuts when it was announced as a character in Tekken 7. He wields his iconic baseball bat, Lucille, and some of his moves are brutal. I mean, he's a battered man shaped by the zombie apocalypse. Obviously, he's going to be using any means necessary to take down ridiculous characters of the Tekken series. Personally, I would love to see a proper game based on the Walking Dead TV show instead of all the crap we've gotten thus far, but it's probably not going to happen. But getting Negan in Tekken 7 was a nice tease. Yeah. At number 9, the Arbiter in Killer Instinct. I think the Arbiter is one of the best characters in Microsoft's library. He first appeared in Halo 2 as the main rival to Master Chief, but by the end of the game, they were reluctant allies attempting to take down the Prophets. Since then, the Arbiter has become one of the most iconic characters in any FPS game, so it's a no-brainer to add him to Killer Instinct, right? Microsoft's flagship fighting game. Arbiter's tough. Brawling style fits perfectly with Killer Instinct's intense game flow, and it was awesome to see him get more action outside the mainline Halo games. If you're going to see a lot of fighting games on the list, which you are, it's because the entire genre is all about going nuts and having fun. So yeah, awesome guest characters. At number 8, Price and Ghost in Infinite Warfare. Now, Infinite Warfare was certainly a controversial game in the COD community, and Activision knew they had to do their best to win people over at launch. This is why throughout Infinite Warfare's life cycle, the game got a lot goofier and it added a lot of free content. Late in the game's life cycle, Activision pulled a fast one on us and actually added Price and Ghost from Modern Warfare 2 as playable characters. Now, by using certain specialists, you could take their armor off and show that it was actually Price and Ghost under the shell, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to see Price wall running and thrust jumping, but hey, COD multiplayer has never made much sense when you think about it. I wasn't a huge fan of Infinite Warfare, but even I can admit this was actually a pretty cool addition and a cool way to pay tribute to the franchise roots. At number 7, the Ninja Turtles in Injustice 2. Now, NetherRealms loves throwing guest characters in their fighting games, and given how little luck the Ninja Turtles have had in the video game world recently, this was good. A few years after launch, NetherRealms took us by surprise by adding all 4 Ninja Turtles as playable characters in Injustice 2, and it was very clear the devs were huge fans of the characters. The Turtles had great voice acting, super authentic movesets, and actually some hilarious banter with the other characters already on the roster. Like I said, it's been a minute since we've had a really good Ninja Turtle game, so to see all 4 of them treated with such respect in such a great game like Injustice 2, I think it was a treat for the fans, and it made me hopeful for the future. Let's just hope someone can give the Turtles another proper video game themselves. At number 6, Raiden in Unreal Championship 2. Now, one of the most unlikely crossovers ever. Mortal Kombat's Raiden actually appeared as a playable character in Unreal Championship 2, which was one of the console-exclusive entries in the Unreal Tournament series. Now, Unreal Tournament has been out for a long time, so you'd be forgiven for not having played it, but back in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was one of the defining games of the arena shooter genre. So when you think of guest characters for an arena shooter, Raiden does not come to mind. But it worked. He had a ton of awesome voice lines to taunt enemies with, and when he was using lightning weapons, it looked and felt real. I'm hoping Unreal Tournament makes a comeback soon. If they do, why not throw in some other awesome guest characters like this? At number 5, this was weird, Darth Maul in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Now, the Tony Hawk games have had a history of bringing in some awesome guest characters, regardless of how out of place they are. I mean, it's a goofy, over-the-top skateboarding game. Why not have crazy guest characters like the Sith Lord himself? In Pro Skater 3, gamers were taken completely off guard when they scrolled through the available skaters and saw freaking Darth Maul as one of the options. Now, some of us thought it was a joke when we first saw it, but no. You could unlock Darth Maul as a playable skater, and he had a whole list of unique tricks to make him even more of a boss. And speaking of Star Wars, we have a segue. Jango Fett and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. There must be a dev that's a Star Wars fan. All the awesomeness that came with Darth Maul in Pro Skater 3 was amplified even further with Jango in 4. Much like Maul, Jango was an unlockable skater who was pretty tough to get your hands on, but once you had him, he was the only character you wanted to use. Just like Darth, Jango had his own set of unique tricks that only he could do, and even he could use his jetpack as one of his special moves to get extra height. Plus, you could use cheat codes to give him unlimited special moves, at which point you could just spam the jetpack move and start flying around the map and even get out of bounds. It was an awesome addition to the Pro Skater formula, and if Pro Skater 3 and 4 do end up getting remastered like 1 and 2, they better keep Django and Darth in there. At number 3, Freddy Krueger himself in Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat has always had a bit of a horror vibe to it. Obviously, it's not a horror game. It's not exactly scary, but it has the same vibe as a slasher movie, and once NetherRealms realized it, it was game on. Mortal Kombat 9 was a surprise hit that helped revive the MK license as a whole, and things got crazier once they started releasing their DLC fighters. One of the first was none other than Freddy Krueger of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Now, Freddy has never been much of a brawler aside from Freddy vs. Jason, but he still fit in with Mortal Kombat perfectly. He's skinny, he's quick, he's got razors for fingers, and he has some of the most iconic takedowns in horror movie history. Freddy was an awesome addition to MK9. He opened the door for other horror icons like Jason, Leatherface, and others. Heck, Mortal Kombat X basically turned into a horror movie crossover game, which I'm okay with. That probably wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Freddy. At number 2, Duke Nukem in Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm was a super underrated FPS game developed by People Can Fly and published by none other than Fortnite's Epic Games. It was trying to be a hybrid of old school over-the-top FPS games like Doom and Quake and new school gritty shooters like Gears of War and Call of Duty. The end result? Extremely fun and cathartic experience that unfortunately flew under the radar due to the intense competition. Now, a few years after the game's launch, Epic Games decided to port it to the new consoles as Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. Okay, extra incentive to buy it, you get Duke Nukem. Following the disastrous Duke Nukem Forever, fans of the character were desperate for a fun Duke game, and Bulletstorm fit the bill perfectly, an over-the-top, ultra-violent FPS with Duke spouting one-liners along the way. If you're a fan of Duke and are still salty about Duke Nukem Forever, I would actually recommend the Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition so you can play through the game as Duke, and it's actually better than some actual Duke Nukem games. But at number 1 today, here we go. Darth Vader, Yoda, and Starkiller in Soulcalibur 4. I cheated, okay? Soulcalibur is an iconic fighting game franchise. It's known for its guest characters. Ever since the beginning, every new Soulcalibur game is expected to have at least one guest character on the roster, and Soulcalibur 4 is probably the one you guys remember because it had the biggest waves. The Xbox 360 version of it featured Yoda. The PS3 version, Darth Vader. Both versions, Starkiller from The Force Awakens. If you played this game back in the day, you know that Yoda and Darth were totally overpowered, especially Yoda. He's tiny, and he hits like a truck, making him almost impossible to beat in a fair fight. Plus, getting Vader and Starkiller in the mix was awesome, although it's unfortunate the Starkiller is now non-canon. Personally, I would love to get a true Star Wars fighting game in 2021 with the characters from all the eras of the saga. So in the comments, you let me know who you think would be the best choice to develop a Star Wars fighting game, because now that EA has let go of the license, I think we're going to get one. There you have it, my friends. Those are some of the coolest guest characters in video games that shocked all of us. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you soon.